Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short, and today is Friday, October 4th, 2013, and got a good show. Before we get into all of that, make sure you follow me on Twitter at short_sports 24-7. Also on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. And if you missed this episode or you missed any other episodes or just want to listen to it again, make sure you go on YouTube, type in The Short Sports Show, and make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Anything of all that nature. Again, today's Friday, so you know our Friday routine. It's what to watch for week, or day, I should say. And last night we had a game, a few college games. And if you guys have watched the Texas-Iowa State game, that was a pretty intense game that I feel referees have not done a good job in the Big 12 so far. I mean, it all started with, my TCU Horned Frogs getting ripped off and cheated / robbed, #robbed, against Texas Tech. And then now, basically, Iowa State or I say basically a whole lot, they got robbed against Texas, and it was just, I don't think Texas should have had that. I mean, there was a fumble on the goal line. If you guys haven't seen it, you can watch it on ESPN, and they'll show you the last bit of highlights on it. And Iowa State clearly had the fumble. They stopped them before the whistle was blown, and got the fumble and returned it back and almost took it to the house. Well, it should have been, if not a touchdown for Iowa State, it should have been a clear change of possession for Iowa State, getting the ball back and basically kneeling the ball and winning the game. But didn't go that way, and then Texas scores. And so now Iowa State drops another game, and Texas has a victory, but Texas is obviously not the team that we're all used to, with them struggling. I know the record shows them, 3-2 now. That's still obviously not a good record for a program of Texas. But, I'm happy. I'm not going to complain with that record, even though they should be 2-3. I'm okay with that. And it's a big week this week in college football. We're finally getting the games that actually matter, that we want to watch, and it's no more big teams going against the little FCS schools or the little teams of the FBS. You're finally in conference play, and we're seeing them play really good teams. And what to watch for in a college football week this week, number one game in my mind is number 15 UW, University of Washington Huskies, at number 5 Stanford. That game is going to be crazy. Last year, Washington did get the upset at home against Stanford and wearing those all-black uniforms, and now they go on the road to play Stanford, and I feel like Stanford has finally got their everything going for them. I know last week they played Washington State here in Seattle, and that game was a given. That was a blowout win, but I feel like now they've got all the momentum, especially heading into this game, which they're going to need, and it's a statement game for them. They're number 5. Now they have to prove they are a top 5 team and going against the number 15 ranked team. I think Washington had a pretty easy schedule so far. I know they played Boise State at home, which was a tough game, but other than that, they really have been just gimme games. And now Stanford playing a really tough test this week against Washington, and it'll be obviously Washington's toughest test of the season so far. I think Stanford does get the victory over University of Washington. Final score, my prediction, 38-17. And now I know my predictions haven't gone the best. I know I got one that was very close, and it was 2 weeks ago. I can't remember the game, but I know I was really close on it, and I think I was right on it. But Stanford, I think, does get the victory, 38-17. I think they really do handle. I know a lot of people think this game is going to be a very close game. I don't see it that way. I see maybe in the first half, maybe being a bit of a tight ball game. But after that, I think Stanford gets the adjustments and does get the victory. The next game is where College Game Day will be, and that's number 4, Ohio State, at number 16, Northwestern. Now, a lot of people don't look at Northwestern. They don't think they're that good. They are a very good team. They are getting their star running back back, I guess you can say, for them. He is returning to the team after an injury. And Ohio State right now has got everything rolling. They lead the NCAA with 16 straight wins. Last year having a 12-0 record, and now starting off pretty good this year. They have 2 solid, great quarterbacks in Braxton Miller and Kenny Guiden. Obviously, Miller will get the start this week, But if he does struggle, best believe Kenny Guiden's going to be there taking over. And both of these guys can throw the ball crazy, but they're on the road, and Northwestern is a tough place to play, and they're going to have their crowd there, and I think Northwestern gets the upset. This is the only team I think has the chance of beating Ohio State. Now I hope Penn State can beat Ohio State in a few weeks, and I don't think Michigan will beat Ohio State. So this is likely the last team that is going to give Ohio State its run for the money. Because if not, you're looking at Ohio State being in the national championship game, and I obviously do not want to see that. But I think Northwestern does get the victory, 31-30. The score, I could see it being a high-scoring game, but I can also see it being a very low-scoring game. I don't think that would be the right exact score, obviously, but I think Northwestern does get the victory. Just overall, the atmosphere, the crowd might throw off Ohio State a little bit. Next game is number 25, Maryland, at number 8, Florida State. And Florida State had a bit of a scare last week playing Boston College. They were down at halftime 17-3, and now they're playing a pretty tough Maryland team. Maryland getting to be their first week being ranked this season. And Florida State's defense was very bad last week. People had high expectations after being one of the top defenses last year, coming in this year being another top defense. And they gave up over 200 yards rushing last week against Boston College, and that's not a defense we're normally seeing at Florida State. So this will be a tough test because not only can Maryland run the ball, they can pass very, very efficiently. And Florida State's going to have to be ready for that. Hopefully they've made some adjustments. But, Maryland could easily win this game and knock Florida State off the top 10 ranks. I do think Florida State does get the victory, though. I think they rebound and make those adjustments and catch up where they need to be. Jameis Winston, quarterback, I think he throws about 2 interceptions in this game. Remember, he is a freshman redshirt, so even though he's at home, I think Maryland's going to give him a little disguise on defense to trying to throw him off and probably make him stay in the pocket where he's forced to throw the ball. He's a running guy, and so he'll try to take those leaps to go out and make something happen. But I think Maryland does a good job. But overall, Florida State does get the victory. 33-21 is my prediction for the game. Then number 4 game, what to watch for this week is my TCU Horned Frogs going on the road, playing in Norman at number 11 Oklahoma. Now, obviously, TCU has not had the year we, or as fans, wanted. We played, obviously, top team in LSU, who did lose to Georgia last week, but still a top team nonetheless, and did get cheated out of Texas Tech. But, that's all in the past now. TCU's offense has to step up, and last week they did a good job dominating SMU 48-17. So I'm glad to see the offense do something, but again, that was an SMU team. That's not, a Texas Tech or LSU. So they're going to have to do something, and playing on the road. Now, TCU has beat Oklahoma on the road. It did in 2005 when Adrian Peterson was a sophomore, but was still a stud at that time. And they did win on the road at Oklahoma. So Gary Patterson and the coaching staff know how to win over there. It was the second to last time they were there. Last time they were there was 2007 when Sam Bradford had a good game against us, and just basically it was a blowout. It was 35-10 was the final score. But TCU has to find something to go offensively for them, and they have to strike fast, quick. They have to do it first, because if they give up some type of lead to Oklahoma, and they're going to have to be the team to catch up to them and try to take the lead, tie the ball game, then take the lead, they're not going to win the game that way. They have to score first, whether that be on defensively and they get a pick six and take it back, or on offense if they get the ball first. They have to find some kind of way to get to score first before Oklahoma, because Oklahoma has done a great job offensively. Blake Bell stepped in, has done a great job. And their running game is so tough to stop, and they're doing everything that TCU should be. TCU has a stud group of running backs, but when they're not using them the way they should be. Oklahoma's doing they know they have studs at running back, so they know how to use them, but they also know how to get that passing game going. If we had the offensive coordinator of Oklahoma did at TCU, you'd be looking at a different record, and I think TCU would be probably number 11 in the nation right now. But offensively, it's just been a huge struggle. So defensively, TCU is going to be banged up, not having their safety, Olabode in the game, and banged up Jason Verrett, who is the number one cornerback in the nation. You can go look on those pre-draft rankings right now. He is number one or number two, but number one overall, I think, in my mind. Being number one cornerback, he's going to be banged up, and not having Devontae Fields is going to hurt them as well. So defensively, they're going to have their best game yet against Oklahoma. Obviously, I'm going for TCU to win this game. I mean, as a fan, that's what you do. But does TCU get the victory? I don't think so. I think it'll be a tough game, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I think TCU does drop another game, which is going to suck. But Oklahoma gets the victory 24-21. But I wouldn't be surprised if TCU does win and finds. And the way they're going to do that, I know it sounds simple and it sounds kind of dumb just to say they have to score points. And, you have to do that. But it's been such a struggle for TCU to do this year. They're going to have to do it, and this is the game where it counts. This is where we're going to find out where TCU really stands. If they keep it close throughout the game, win or loss, then you can say they have not that they're going to win the Big 12, but they're going to be, there to compete in all the other games. If they get blown out and you see another 30-10 win or something like that, then we're back in the middle of the pack, if not in the bottom. And it's hard to swallow to know that we're not at the top like we used to be, but this game will decide it. And so we'll just have to see. Last game, what to watch for this week in college football is number 6 Georgia at Tennessee. And I've been rooting for Tennessee this year, try to get something going. I want them to be another top SEC team, but it just not has been. I've rooted them against Oregon. Obviously, you guys saw the game. It was like 50-9 or something like that. Tennessee can't get the job done, and I don't think they'll get the job done here. 35-24 is my prediction. Georgia getting the ball game. So here's some quick notes on what's happened so far in college football. And Alabama, number 1 Alabama, in trouble. Assistant strength and conditioning coach Corey Harris was put on administrative quote. I'm doing those little bunny ears. I know you guys can't see, but those little bunny ears. Administrative leave. Basically, he got fired. He was given money or benefits to safety Clinton Dix. Now, I'm not making fun of him. I'm not saying ha. That is his first name, literally H-A space H-A. I don't know why. I think someone said his name was Hashan or something like that, but they call him Clinton Dix. Either way, that guy's a really good safety. And he got kicked off the team. He was also put on some type of leave, whatever you want to call it. But basically, the coach was fired, and the guy was kicked off the team. That's a huge loss for Alabama's defense. Their toughest test doesn't come until LSU and then the SEC championship. I mean, we can already say that Alabama's going to the SEC championship. But that's a huge loss for Alabama, and now they're getting in trouble. It just seems like there's going to have to be some kind of system that allows coaches or allows the universities to pay athletes. Now, at first, I don't want to get too much into it, but when everything came out for Oklahoma State and giving money, and we started really talking, I mean, we talked about it way before then, but again, the topic comes back up. It seems like every time it starts to die down, something comes out where there's a university or a coach giving money to an athlete or multiple athletes. It just seems like it keeps coming out, and you can't push it away. I think every university, now that I have a better understanding of it, now because people think, oh no, they shouldn't get paid. These kids cannot have a job. They cannot have no part-time job. They can't have anything because they're focused not only on school, but because of the practice hours. Those are basically their two things that they're doing. And so no university, no athletes can have a job. So then you think, well, how are they supposed to pay for stuff? I know they're on scholarship, but for food, basic stuff, and if every athlete comes from a different background, so it's not like their parents can just buy them food or something like that. So you start thinking, okay, well then there has to be some kind of system that allows college athletes to get some kind of paid money, getting paid so they can get basic stuff, not for paying for cars and all the other stuff, basic stuff as in food, something you need to survive on. I think every university, and I don't think it should be separate from conference or from division. I think it should be, for every school, there should be, X amount of money for, each athlete and total over. I'm trying to get this in the best way I can say this. Like, let's say, I know this won't be the amount, but I'm just saying, just for example purposes only. If they were only given $100,000, they can give total. Then you start splitting up for each athlete that is equal, because then that's going to be a huge argument if they say, well, here's a kid that wasn't highly recruited and we're only going to give him, $1,000. And then, but there's a kid that's really highly recruited, we're going to give him $10,000. And what if the other one outperforms the other one? Then you start getting into other problems. But I think each athlete should be get paid a certain amount of money that's not too much, that where they're getting, their extra type things, getting stuff they're basically to survive on if they had a normal part-time job or full-time job type of deal. And I think like the same thing for like an Alabama school will get this much money and a Texas State school will get this much money. Nothing too much where Alabama's getting $1 million and Alabama State's getting $10,000, something like that. Because these kids do need some type of money to survive on, and that's just where I stand on this part. Georgia running back Todd Gurley is questionable against Tennessee, having another injury. They have studs at running back as well. It seems like the running game has been a huge thing for the SEC for many years. Marshall will take over, but they said Gurley was unable to practice. He tried to go, but could not finish the practice, so we'll have to see. And redshirt freshman Tommy Armstrong Jr. Will make his second start for Nebraska. The reason I bring this up, and mainly because most of my listeners are in Texas. If you're not, I'm not excluding you. I'm just letting you know because that's where I'm from. He played against San Marcos High School, my high school. He played at Steele High School, who he led the team to back-to-back state championship appearances and won with Malcolm Brown, who's at Texas. And Tommy Armstrong was verbally committed to TCU until Nebraska offered him a scholarship, and then he decided to go to Nebraska, which sucks. But I'm glad for him that he's already making. I didn't know he was already making his second start. But Taylor Martinez is out because of a toe injury, and I hope the best for him, and I hope he does great success, because when I saw him at Steele, he was awesome. So I hope he has good success at Nebraska. And he's a redshirt freshman, so he's got plenty of years ahead of him to make something happen. Now let's move on to the NFL. Buffalo and Browns played last. Buffalo Browns. The Buffalo Bills and the Browns played last night. Browns did come back and get the victory, but their quarterback, and I'm going to talk about the Browns for a little bit. Brian Hoyer tore his ACL, is out for the year. They basically put him at starting position. Brandon Weeden was hurt, but they said, we're basically moving away from Brandon Weeden. You're going to be our starting quarterback for the year. Remember when they were 0-2 after week 2, and we were saying Browns are throwing away their season. They're going to go for a quarterback, and going for the draft. This year's draft, this upcoming year's draft was going to be their way of changing things up and rebuilding. They traded Trent Richardson to the Colts. Everybody, it's over. I said it too. I'm not going to say I didn't. But now, ever since then, they've been on a 3-game winning streak. Now, I know they just played the Bills. Bills aren't a great team or anything. Bills are an up-and-coming team, but Browns are 3-2 now. They're first in the AFC North. Not the Ravens, obviously not the Steelers this year. And the Bengals dropped the egg against the Browns, which is ridiculous. But it's crazy to see the Browns, how everybody, including I, thought that they were throwing the year away and that was it. And now they're 3-2 and leading the AFC North. If the playoffs were to start today, Browns would be not the number 1 seed, but they would be the top 4 seeds in the AFC with the division win. pretty crazy. Now, it's still early in the year, and I think, that's dramatically going to change with their positioning, but it's crazy to see the Browns winning right now, and they might go get Josh Freeman. Josh Freeman was cut by the Buccaneers. Now, I knew he wasn't going to get traded, just because why would you want to trade and give something away for him? He's been in this is his 5th year in the NFL, when there are tons of quarterbacks coming out this year in the upcoming draft. So it's like, do you want to get a guy that you're kind of uncertain about? He has some kind of skill. He's a good, solid backup right now, depending on which team is looking at him. But you're kind of leaning against him because you could get something better and work on something with a young player that has a ton of potential in the draft, then kind of work on him. You know what I mean? So I knew no one was going to trade for him, but who picks him up now? Now that the Browns lost their starting quarterback, now I got to go back to Brandon Weeden, who they were trying to get away from, basically. And whether they go take a shot for Josh Freeman or they do something. They'll have to do something. But it's just going to be crazy to see. Now, what to watch for in the NFL this week? It seems like, the NCAA, college football, and the NFL just plan games, their best games on specific weeks. The Broncos and the Cowboys is number one game to watch this week. I'm glad the Cowboys have a home game for this game because at least it'll give them some type of momentum against the Broncos. But I think the Broncos are just way too powerful this year, and it's crazy how good they are. And I'm a little afraid as a Charger fan with the Broncos. But I do see the Broncos, who are 4-0, while the Cowboys are 2-2 this year. I do see the Broncos getting the victory, 38-24 over the Cowboys. Rooting for the Cowboys to knock them off, but I just don't see it happening. Second game is the Seattle Seahawks at the Indianapolis Colts. Seattle is 4-0, and I think I said that weird, 4-0. And the Indianapolis Colts are 3-1, who Colts are pretty solid. I mean, they went to San Francisco, beat San Francisco up, and at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks, I think, are too powerful defensively. Offense for the Colts is still not there yet. They still need more wide receiver targets, I think. But I do see the Seahawks getting the victory, 28-17. I don't know. Seahawks, I'm still on the fence with. I mean, I think they're 4-0. They're a good team, and I said about what the 49ers. I thought the 49ers would beat them. That didn't happen. That wasn't even close. But it seems like the Seahawks are just the team. I'm not rooting against them, but I don't know if they're a legit team so far. I could be completely wrong with that. It's just this will be a good test for the Seahawks, but I do see them getting the victory. Number 3 game is somehow the Saints 4-0 at the Chicago Bears, who are 3-1 so far. Again, should be probably 0-4 for the Bears, maybe 1-3 for the Bears. The Saints are just really good. Somehow, I know with the return of Sean Payton, I knew that offense was still going to be good. I think we all did, knowing the offense was going to be very, very productive again with Drew Brees at center. But defensively, how much their game has improved over the past few years. We've always seen how the defense has been the letdown for the Saints, and usually that's why they had lost a few games and losing in the playoffs the past few years before last year. But they have been a top defense so far this year, which is very impressive to see how the Saints are doing. Hopefully they don't have any bounty thing. That's why they're being successful. Just kidding. But I'm just saying, Saints are very, very good this year, and I think they go and improve to 5-0 against. I feel like I'm saying kind of weird. I don't know why. See the Saints winning 30-21 over the Bears, and next week is going to be another good game for the Saints, where they have to go on the road at New England against the Patriots. That'll be a very, very good game that can't wait to see next week. The fourth game, what to watch for, speaking of the Patriots, is the Patriots at the Bengals. Patriots are 4-0 right now, and the Bengals are 2-2. Now, the Bengals are so confusing. A lot of people talked about them being Super Bowl contenders. I don't think they are. I wish they would be, because Andy Dalton, being from TCU, wish the best for him. But Bengals are they struggle against the Browns, which confuses the crap out of me, because it's like you can when you play the Ravens, either it's a really good game or it's just bad. And when you play the Steelers, obviously this year it's probably going to be really good for them. But it seems like when they play the Browns, it's like they're playing as Jacksonville or something, because they are so bad when they play the Browns. It doesn't matter if it's away, it doesn't matter if it's home. I don't know if I already talked about this in last week's episode, but I'm so disappointed in the Bengals having this, why they struggle against the Browns. It throws me off. I do see the Bengals getting the victory. I mean, if they can beat the Packers, you think they could beat the Browns. I think they beat the Patriots just because their defense, I think, steps up. Tom Brady's wide receivers still off target a little bit, but Tompkins is being a great receiver. I can't believe he was undrafted. I picked him up on my fantasy team. I'm so excited for that. And hopefully Josh Boyce from TCU, you guys already know. Hopefully he can step up and get some more playing time, since Dobson is butterfingers everywhere. I see the Bengals winning 24-21 and improving in the AFC North for the Bengals. Number 5, whatever you want to say. Lions at the Packers. Lions 3-1. Or is that right? Yeah, they are 3-1. Wow. I didn't think they were 3-1. While the Packers are 1-2. Packers had a bye week last week, and the Lions absolutely dominated the Bears and finally showed who the Bears really are, thankfully. Lions, not this week. I think your luck starts to run out here. I think the Packers get back on the winning streak and find some kind of groove going into the weeks, into the season. Packers get the victory 35-34. Chiefs at the Titans. Chiefs are 4-0, while the Titans are 3-1. Titans have a really good defense this year, while the Chiefs have both. Chiefs have done really good. I think they've only held opponents to 41 points this year, while having 109 points so far on offense. I know that stat may be a little confusing for you guys, but they're basically, they held, I keep saying basically a lot. I'm sorry about that, guys. But they've held opponents to 41 total points, but I think they do get the victory, improving to 5-0. Somehow the Chiefs 5-0 against the Titans, 27-21. And I couldn't not talk about my Chargers. I could not talk about my Chargers. You know, I have to. Chargers are on the road at the Raiders. They had to change the time schedule because of Oakland A's in the playoffs. Yes, I'm happy for that. And they changed it to 8 o'clock Pacific time, but it'll be 11 p.m. on the East Coast, which is pretty funny because they're calling it a Sunday. They're calling it a Monday morning game, so it's pretty crazy how they had to change the time. But I think the Chargers offensively have really picked up good groove, and I see them winning against the Raiders 35-24. Chargers enter 2-2, and the Raiders 1-3. Again, we talked about Buccaneers releasing Josh Freeman. Their head coach is the main reason they're failing. You heard it here first, and now he's in trouble both with the federal government releasing medical information, which is illegal, and also with the organization. Best believe you'll see him getting fired middle of the year. Also, the Panthers traded linebacker John Beeson to the New York Giants. I don't know why the Panthers did it. I know he's had some injury issues the past 2-3 years, but he's still a solid linebacker, and he was the heart for the Panthers defense. I know Luke Kuechly was also the guy that's going to step up, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason why they traded him to the Giants. And the Giants need help at linebackers. They've needed help since what was his first name? Not Paul Pierce, but Pierce, middle linebacker, wore 50 or 58. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Ever since he left, it's been a bad linebacking crew for the Giants. And we need to wrap this up. Only got a minute left. So last night, MLB action, playoffs started. Excuse me. Pirates just dropped it 1-9, or 9-1, I should say. Cardinals beating the Pirates last night. And also the Dodgers getting the victory, game 1, which is huge on the road. Clayton Kershaw, 12 strikeouts, 7 innings. Awesome job, 6-1 over the Braves. Today's game, Pirates are playing right now. Bottom of the 7th, it is 6-1 Pirates leading, which I'm rooting for the Pirates. But be happy if the Cardinals win. And also, bottom of the 1st so far for Tampa Bay and Boston. That's the end of the show, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, short_sports. 24-7. See you guys next Monday.